right. What's up? What's up? How we doing? Let's see if we can get this centered right. That's acceptable. Acceptable. How we doing? Happy week anniversary. Week anniversary? Is that a thing? Middle school? Last Wednesday here in America, the world went crazy, and that's when we started to take the thing seriously. And we're now a week in. And so it's been really interesting to watch, again, as I mentioned in the previous video, like a lot of the different reactions to it. And as I mentioned in the Facebook group when I posted this, we did a couple of existential videos before, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not feeling it today. Like I dropped my coin. I just want to get back to some parts, some basics, especially for those of you who are newer to the class. One thing that Dave talked about in today's YouTube video is this idea of, it's not hard to learn the parts. It takes like a month or two to learn what they are and to sort of vaguely understand them, which is true. So what he said is like what takes people a while to get good at typing is knowing what you're looking for. And I'm going to say that I mostly agree. I think that part of what makes it difficult is just understanding what they mean by their own definitions, because again, it's still in the process of getting codified and solidified, as well it should be. That is that's exactly where they're supposed to be. They're doing the thing. I can't be mad at it. But I think that they are going to see a substantial jump in people's ability to type, like beyond he talked about in the video today of like, I want, the sort of the next level is like, I'm not really sure what I'm seeing here, but let me think about what I'm not seeing. Okay, I'm not seeing a lot of analogies. I'm not seeing a lot of analogies. Now let me go back and see if I can look for ST and the absence of NF or whatever it is, right? And so learning how to ask really good questions about people when you're trying to sort of pinpoint them and figure them out in a typing setting, that's absolutely more layers to that. But you cannot do any of this, regardless of what your goals are in objective personality land. You cannot do any of this if you don't understand the binary coin. So what's the binary coin? A binary coin in objective personality, and I think debatably in like all of life, but particularly in the context of OP, a binary coin is just a pair of complementary opposites. And it is founded on this idea that everyone has everything, everyone can do everything. And this is not a new concept within the field of typology. I myself, back in 2015, talked about something kind of similar. It's interesting to sort of go back and look at my old blogs and things, and then looking at OP, and to be like, wow, we really were kind of aiming for the same end goal. And sort of what, even on a really fundamental level, what I think a lot of people, some were not, but I think a lot of people were, certainly in my typology circles, were like, look, we all have a function stack, right? And INTJ is not just absent sensory and feeling, right? No, right? We have N above S, we have T over F. Our first function is introverted, it's subjective, it's turned inward. And this is where it gets a little funny, fuzzy, whatever. But like the J versus the P, because in Myers-Briggs, everyone is either lead consume or lead blast. It's like you have a savior, your savior function, your savior observer is OI or OE, right? Again, that's not how OP works, but right. But again, we're still seeing those sorts of like, we all have all of these parts. It's just a matter of what order they're in and how they're talking to each other and what they're all kind of doing together, right? So, but I love the concept of a binary coin because, as you can see from this coin, when I don't hold it up to the same background colors, so let's hold it up like here, right? So like maybe I hold it up here. Here we go. Hot cho. There we go. Right. So you got the head, and then you got the tails. There it is, right? So they are both part of this coin, right? Just because you're seeing heads doesn't mean tails doesn't exist in the background. Just because someone is showing you tails doesn't mean that they suddenly aren't heads also, right? And I think it's a really, really important concept to understand both for ourselves and others, because this is how you can start to type people and track people's behavior over time based on the idea of what do they feel responsible for, right? But you have to look at it for F or F over T, not T and N, right? When you start to play the and game, right? So in the case of like INTJ, now it's like, okay, but like, where's your cross check? Well, like I get that you're seeing both of these, but are you seeing the absence of like a disrespect of the sensory? Are you seeing a disrespect of feelings, of values? Like what is the complementary opposite that is absent, right? In the majority of their language, or when they talk about these things, do they talk about it in a serious, heightened, like, this is important. It's important that I get this right. And it's funny, one of my very, very good friends, and actually my dad does this to an extent. They're both ENFP. I know one is for sure Blast Last, ST Blast Last. My dad, he just has low ST in general. And he has low ST and low blast. And he's either an ENFP or ENTP. Like he's in that any consume play realm, right? So low blast, low ST. And it's really interesting to talk to them. And my mother too, because she has low ST sleep. And in talking to all these different people who don't know each other, obviously my mom and dad know each other, but like these people, they don't really know each other, but they all have very similar patterns of this like, ooh, we're talking about sensory stuff. Okay, I need to make sure that I take this very seriously and that I really understand exactly the sensory of what it is that you're saying. Now, there's a little bit of an SI component to all of them in this because they're like, oh, hang on, sensory means organize, and I don't like to organize, but I know that it's important. So just, you got to give me a second, and I'm going to go very slowly, and I'm going to really like own each piece and really try to organize it, and we're going to take it very seriously, right? Whereas not only do I have double activated Savior ST, they're both fucking extroverted. So you're going to see the complete opposite, where I was like, yeah, whatever, facts, give me new facts. I don't really give a shit. Oh, look, new data came in. Sweet, let me throw this other worse data out because like this better data exists. I'm going to use the better data, right? So that's, I mean, I know we've veered away from the binary coin thing a little bit, but the reason I'm getting to all of this is less about the introverted extroverted and more about just this. You can track the binary coin of a feeling state, right? Of the emotional state of like, this is like when you get to be old enough, right? And you've seen some shit in the world, and assuming you're like a growth mindset person, you will very, very quickly, whether you study OP or not, you're going to get to a point where you realize that everything is important and everything has value, and that everything deserves respect, and that you either have to be concretely responsible for everything, Or at the very least, you have to respect it so much and trust somebody else to do it, which I don't actually think is that bad of a route to go. Depending on the thing that needs to get done, depending on this and that, right? Like, whatever, man. We're all in a process, but you gotta respect all the things, and that's just a thing that happens naturally. But the reason that the binary coin is so important is because you can track when, even if it isn't, thinking over feeling, TI over FE, or whatever it is, right? Whatever coin that you happen to be seeing at a given moment. You can still track and use as a cross check, like, where do they get real serious, right? Not in an introverted or extroverted way necessarily, but just where do they get serious? Where are they like, okay, hang on a second, this is not my strong suit. And I think that honestly, like, that's where it comes from, right? Because life will naturally force certain functions and saviors and things to the top. And especially when it comes to like tribe validation type stuff, if you're accustomed to getting tribe validation, you're gonna lead with that because it gets you the tribe validation. If you do something that makes you feel significant, you're gonna lean into the thing that makes you feel significant, right? Just in the interest of just meeting all the different human needs, right? But for this binary coin thing, it's like, look for where they're like, okay, well, hang on a second, all right, this is a thing that I have to really focus on. It is not something that just I've been doing for 20 years, 30 years, comes effortlessly and naturally. I can just sort of toss it off. Like, I have to really concentrate when I do it to make sure that I do it right? Because really the two options you have are, ignore it, which is bad and immature and like, don't do that, right? Or respect it. And according to the theory, and I think that a lot of this is fairly true and trackable, if you're like, no matter how boss you get, there's always going to be something that you take a little more seriously. Oprah is never going to get mistaken for an ISTP. It's just not going to fucking happen, right? She's never going to effortlessly play the ST game. She might play it well. She might do a great job at playing it, and like, especially as she's gotten older and later in life, someone like Bill Gates will have learned at somehow in some ways to play the SF game or to correctly outsource it, right? Like, but you're never going to see Bill Gates and be like, that ESFJ motherfucker, he is the guy who I want planning all of my events. Like, no! What? No, that's preposterous. It's never going to happen, even with these extraordinarily successful people. And, even with, to throw out our buddy Tony Robbins there, right? Who's sort of like the prototype for alpha, whatever. How about, how about Brene Brown? How about Brene Brown? Just because, again, there's a lot of loaded feelings with the term alpha and Tony Robbins and size and masculine sense, right? Let's look at Brene Brown. She's an ISTJ. She's an ISTJ doubling up on her ST blast. And all her entire life's work is about NF vulnerability and about how that's the key to life, right? Nobody will ever mistake her for an ENFJ, right? If you know what you're looking for, she just doesn't have ENFJ vibes, because you can tell that every time she talks about it and every time she gets on stage, it's fucking work for her to talk about NF hippy dippy bullshit, right? In a way that it just isn't for someone like Oprah or Russell Brand, right? So Russell Brand, he's like the double masculine cranked up Oprah. So he's FENI, ENFJ guy, blast, play, consume, sleep last, right? But when you hear him talk about NF stuff, I mean, it's just real obvious, isn't it? With him, right? With his little Essex accent. And he's just sort of talking about the connection of all the things in the universe, isn't he? Right. And then he'll sort of get philosophical for a bit, and he'll maybe do a little bit of NT, but I mean, really, he just wants to stay in that sort of love and charity and connection and hippy dippy NF bullshit abstraction, right? Sorry, I just really like doing the Essex. I really like Essex accents. Please do not ask me why. If you have any idea why I have a thing for Essex accents, please let me know in the comments below, because I've been trying to fucking figure this out for years, but it's like my favorite accent. I just adore it. I think it's so cool and so sexy, and I don't fucking understand it, but there you are. Side note. But I bring that up because when you hear Russell Brand talk about NF, you're like, oh yeah, you respect the hell out of this, but you don't have to take it seriously and work at it to really hammer in, like, I'm doing the NF thing. I am respecting NF because I know that it's important and I have to take it seriously because it's not a good muscle of mine, but God damn it, that's what we're doing right now, so we're going to do it, right? That's not the vibe you get, right? He gets that way when we're talking about like NT, right? So his single activated TI, demon TI identity at the fucking bottom of his function stack. Now we're getting into this. He's like, well, wait a minute. What rules do I have for myself? What is my identity? I'm not going to do the accent again. What is my identity irrespective of other people? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Right? So that's where you're going to see him, right, be like, hang on, let me end, because then even though his NI is attached to his first animal, it's in the middle and it's also attached to his last animal. So NT, so he's NT last, doubling up on his SF. And you see that in him. Like, the man he's just a man of the world. He is a grounded human in so many ways. Because he has that SF over NT, and his SE and his FE are both masculine, and he's doubling up on him. He's like one click away. You can sort of think of him as like being one click away from Gary V. Gary V has the savior SE, whereas Russell Brand is more in the NF hippie, organized, blasty, tell the people what to do kind of realm. But they're very, very similar in a lot of ways. And you can sort of see in both of them their SF over the NT, right? So, putting all of this together, the reason that OP works and is trackable, even if it is only by a couple of people at this moment in time, is because you're really only typing two things at a time, ever. Whether, let's say you sit down to type. So if you sit down to type someone like me, right? So let's use me as an example. Glass lizard, INTJ, cranked way the fuck up, sleep last. So my NI is attached. It's my first function and attached to my last animal. Hooray for me, right? So if you're trying to type me and you're like, this motherfucker's doing all the things, he is covering all of his bases, the way that you would have to try and type me is you'd have to go, okay, I'm just getting a lot of single observer vibes. That's just, he's balanced on tribe and self. He doesn't really talk about him that much. And when he does, he can see both sides of people more easily than he can see both sides of systems and things. Okay, so he's either an EP or an IJ. Well, he's, okay. So now that we are, okay, so we've chopped the board in half, right? They talked about chopping the board in half a lot in the older videos, and I'm bringing it back. Great. So he's on the observer side of the board. Cool. And then from there, is he an EP or is he an IJ? You know what? Even though he does a lot of gathering, it is clearly something he has to work at and take seriously, because mentally he's just organizing shit all the time. He's like, all right, yeah, this goes here and that goes there. And then, oh, I got this new thing and then that goes in there. And like the plan is sacrosanct, but the things that go into the plan, those can adjust. And just to sort of bring it to the existential for a hot second, I was talking to a friend about NE versus NI when it comes to dealing with the coronavirus. And one of the things that I've really been struggling with, which is kind of how one of the clues to my NI-ness, is that I'm like, look, I had this NI plan for years that I had to nuke to make my life better because that NI plan wasn't working. I was like, cool, all right, great. And then now I get here and I've been doing the thing and I'm like 6 months in and we're like, okay, all right, starting to get some traction, starting to find routines, starting to really build this life. And then Wrecking Ball comes in and nukes my NI plan. I'm like, motherfucker, my plan went to shit, right? And that is a recurring theme of mine is I'm like, can we just settle down for like 6 months? Can we just have 6 months of the same shit? That's it. I just want 6 months of the same goddamn thing. I don't care what it is. It just needs to be 6 months of doing the same thing. And then I can do something else. That is fine. But like, oh my God, right? So then when you hear that kind of language in my typing video all the time, you're like, oh shit. Yeah, that's IJ. Huh. That's IJ. What do you know? Right? But that's how you catch it, right? Where I'm not averse to gathering at this point in my life, right? I've been doing it plenty. I work in an industry dominated by SE, and even more than that, and it's dominated by SF. So my demon consume, that's third, that's still a demon, but has both of my demon functions, has gotten a shit ton of workout just through osmosis, just being around SF day after day after day after day after day for 34 fucking years. That's why it just takes longer to type me. But boy, when you catch me talking about plans and how like viscerally, animalistically upset I get when my plan is foiled or because of outside chaos, and I'll even get even double hyper fucked up about it because like it is, I did my job. Look, I tried to sensor gather. I respected the sensory gather. I did the thing. I went out and gathered. I didn't just live in NI abstract land. I did consume sleep. I did my homework. And I still got fucking taken out, man. Fucking table flip everything, right? That's how you're like, oh, okay. Because what that signals is the organizing thing is effortless to me. I want to do it all day long. I'm good at doing it all day long. I'm good at putting together a plan of action for a lot of people, and how I fit into that. And I'm balanced. I'm doing the thing. And then, okay, fine. You know what? I will sensory gather. I will venture out into the world, and I will go to the goddamn gym, and I'll lift weights, and I'll do the SF, and I'll gather sensory experience, and I'll be open to new things. I'll do it. It'll take effort. I like doing it. I recognize the value in doing it. It's all right. So we're going to do it, and it's serious. Now, can I please go back to the thing that does not require as much goddamn effort, right? All of this is to say, kind of no matter how abstract and weird you get with all of this, it's gonna, you can find the binary coin if you're looking for it. And that is the fundamental of the OP typing process, is forcing everything into a binary coin first. And then once you have that hammered out, now you can give yourself the permission to go, okay, where is this person on the spectrum of SE, right? Oh, wow. Okay, so the reason that we're getting such a double feminine energy from Raja so often is because his two savior functions are feminine, and they are the most feminine versions of those feminine functions. So like my feminine NI is fucking feminine as hell, like holy good goddamn, and my feminine TE is super, super feminine, flowy, whatever, man. Which means that my masculine sensory is just not going to get a chance to shine. And when it comes out, it's just like heavyweight punching you in the face, right? And that's, again, that's part of the spectrum. You get to play the spectrum game once you have played the binary coin game. All right, so I hope that was helpful. Please look at the other, the closer look videos to really get an insight into the individual parts. But, this concept of binary coin, you're just looking for complementary opposites. If I see this, then I should be seeing an absence of that. If I see that, there should be an absence of this. Or at the very least, a struggle to balance the two with in sort of a seesaw kind of, you knew I was going to bring it back. I didn't know when it was going to get there, but we're going to get there in that sort of rolling with the homies kind of way of yep, up and down and up and down. There's going to be that tension there, and it's going to be more effortless for one to be above the other. All right. That's all I got for today. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye.